Boom! We're live here on a cold and rainy Sunday night here in Missouri. I'm down here, cold and rainy here. So I got chat open, guys. But what is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? It's getting late here. I got to start going live a little earlier, not at like 10:15. I got to start going live just a little bit earlier. Everyone, let me know, is my connection, is my feed good? Let me know in the chat. Are we good? Do we sound good? Do we look good? Let me know. Haven't streamed in a while, so. But, we got the 0Z GFS working in just in time. So as y'all know, we go over the models here. We got the Euro, we got the GFS. Personally, in my opinion, the Euro has been actually, it's not an opinion. It's actually an objective fact. The European model has been so much better this winter. It has been a lot better this winter. Yep, we are good. Okay. Thank you, Oversteer69. He says we are good. Good. All right. But I think for severe weather, I think that the GFS is usually pretty solid, and I think that it actually is not bad compared to the Euro, but I don't know. So here we go. Tuesday. Look at this. We got I need to get my whole thing. I need to get my little drawing device. But welcome everybody. Everybody in the chat, let me know, where are you tuned in from? Where are you guys watching from this evening? Let me know. Come on, let me know. We got Jesse in the chat. We got Night Wolf in here from Dora, Alabama. Storm Tacoma says, an unexpected surprise this late night. Yeah, I need to do a better job of scheduling my streams. I want to start doing these I'm probably going to do these like every night this week, at least when I'm home. But welcome in everybody. I'll keep my eyes on chat. But Tuesday, here's our trough coming in. You can see our system right here. Look at this system coming in here. And you're going to have moisture feeding in from down here. Probably a dry line and a warm front right here. And we actually have look at this, we have good dew points, good moisture here just in western Missouri, southeast Kansas. There's actually a pretty good environment right here. You could see on our supercell composite, those oranges and those yellows are pretty good indices right there. Okay, here we go. We got South Central Michigan. We got Jonesboro, Arkansas. We got St. Louis, Missouri, Dallas, Texas, Central Indiana. You guys are all going to get a ton of rain this week. Jonesboro, Dallas, Central Indiana, St. Louis, Michigan. You're going to get a lot of rain. Michigan, it's going to be warm. You're going to get some storms. You're going to get moisture. You're going to get a lot of that. But here, this environment's really good Tuesday, but look at our cap. This is all capped. This is all capped. So you see how these purples and blues right here are shiny and these ones are kind of like dim? Well, that dimness is basically the model telling you that this is capped. So this is capped right here. So we're not really focused much on Tuesday, but our focus shifts a little bit Wednesday. But I'm not going to lie. This is downtrended a bit. But down here from central Texas up over to Illinois, Indiana, Southwest Missouri, Arkansas, there is, at least on Wednesday, a some risk for some severe weather in here. And you can see the Storm Prediction Center actually maps out. Here's the SPC risk. You can see down here from west of Dallas all the way up to about Fayetteville, Arkansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They do map out a region right there. We got St. Peters, Missouri in here. We got Kansas City. Yeah, y'all are going to get the rain. So that's another thing we're going to talk about too, is the rain here. But you can see that trough is not doing too hot there Wednesday. It strengthens a little bit come Thursday. But here's your next system. This is the one we're really kind of watching. So here's Thursday. Look at this system out here. Right here. Here's your system spinning, and it is ejecting. It's ejecting out into the plains. And Thursday, I'm very, very interested here in a dry line from northern Texas all the way up to western Kansas. So this dry line is going to be about right. That's a terrible drawing. You guys get where it's at. That's where the dry line is, about right here. And my one worry with this dry line is, well, my one worry with this system is this might be ejecting just a little bit late, but it does look like there is enough. It does look like there is enough to fire off a few storms here. This is at 500 millibars, so we're looking at our upper level system about 6 miles. This is about 6 miles above the ground. That's what we're looking at right here. It's 96 hours out. You can see your height falls right here. So basically blue means that your heights are falling, and your red means that they're rising. So you got sinking air and you got rising air. So you want your air to be, we're going to die. No, you're not going to die. You want height falls. You want height falls. You don't want the height rises. Height rises usually mean calm weather. Height falls usually mean storms, stormier weather. Pressure is dropping. So you can see your height falls over here with this trough, and then you got height falls. You got height falls extending out here into the plains. So your heights are going to be falling throughout the day. As you can see, this trough moves in. Your heights are going to be falling, and you do have a dry line right here. Now, your moisture up into Kansas a little bit late. You got last minute moisture, so your 50-degree dew point line is probably right there. Your 60-degree dew point line is that blue. There's your 60-degree dew point line. So you have this last second moisture. Here's your 50s. There's your 60-degree dew points. But you have this last second moisture coming in here. And you can see your dry line here. You got dew points right here, low 60s. But I bet if I pull a sounding right here, I bet it's going to look pretty good. And it doesn't look that good, actually. Let's pull this. Maybe it's convectively contaminated. This sounding looks a lot better. You have, I'm not going to break all of this down tonight, but 73 over 60, that's not bad. You have decent moisture. You have a good EML. So in between this red and this green line, that's your EML. And then you have good CAPE. In between that dotted white line and that red line, that's your CAPE. So you have good EML, good CAPE. You got surface winds out of the southeast, and then up aloft, they switch out of the south-southwest or southwest-west. So that leaves you a decently curved topograph right here. I was seeing better soundings certainly on the last run, but here. I mean, you could see it right here. Yeah, there's your pretty good soundings here. Even in the northern Texas, if you get a storm down in northern Texas, you have pretty good soundings as well, a little bit moisture starved. But then let's follow our trough. Let's see here. Oh, left your earbuds in Arizona? Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. I think Jonesboro will see severe weather. Of course, Jonesboro is going to see severe weather. The sky is blue. Jonesboro is going to see severe weather. You know, the question is, how bad is the severe weather? Sorry, guys. I got a little bit of a cold sinus allergy. I don't even know what it is, but my nose is a little stuffy the last few days. I'm going to be live here for like 15, 20 more minutes. It won't be super long. I got to go to sleep, and I got to get up for work at like 7:15 tomorrow. So I got to at least try to get like 7-8 hours of sleep. Got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Later this week, me and Garrett will be live out there in the field. But it's a ginger door liquor. How is Central North Texas looking Wednesday through Friday? Central North Texas. Well, here's Thursday right here. I think Wednesday, I think you're going to be in a stormy pattern. As far as like significant severe weather, that is to be determined. I think severe weather is certainly on the table. So let's now go look at Friday. And you can see as we go to Friday, our system now ejects. Look at this system eject. Look at all this flow. Look at all your upper level flow that's now out over the plains. Look at this. A lot of flow out over the plains. By Friday, and that includes North Texas all the way up to Oklahoma, Kansas. So let's see what our moisture situation Friday is going to be much, much better. Look at this. Friday, we have We have mid 60 dew points across Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas. Look at this dry line. You got this dry air out to the west. It's banked up, tight dry line here. Warm front all the way up to I-80 up there. This could be a big severe weather setup if everything comes together right, because it is not often. I mean, we are March 6th. At this point, this is March 6th. I mean, look at how big this warm sector is. You have 60-degree dew points from Ohio all the way to Kansas, all the way to 35 in Kansas. Here's your low-level jet. So when I say low-level jet, I mean, what are your winds about a mile above the surface? That's what I mean when I say low-level jet. What are your winds a mile above the surface? Carol, welcome to the Doppler gang. Welcome to the Doppler gang, Carol. If you're just tuning in, let me know where you're watching from. But Carol, welcome to the Doppler gang. So this is your winds just above the surface, maybe like a mile, maybe 2 miles above the surface, probably like a mile. But look at this. 50-mile-an-hour plus winds right above the surface. This is a huge, expansive, low-level jet. Look at this, from North Texas all the way over to the Ohio River Valley. Look at this. Big, expansive, low-level jet. So you got big, expansive, low-level moisture, big, expansive, low-level jet. That is why the day that I'm most interested in right now is probably Friday. Here's your low-level jet Thursday. Not quite as strong, but it's strong enough to get the job done. I'm definitely interested in Thursday for like a photogenic storm off of the dry line. It's very possible. But Friday has the bigger potential, and you can see height falls across Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas there in the blue. And then you have slight height rises in the Ohio Valley and the Midwest. That's something to watch. Maybe it'll be a little bit harder to get some convection to fire out here. A little bit easier out here on this dry line where you have falling heights. Let's see if we fire storms. How about that? Composite reflectivity here. The GFS doesn't show much in the way of storms. There's some stuff out here, East Oklahoma, Western Missouri, and then there's some stuff up here by the warm front. There's kind of two areas. But out here, dry line, it doesn't look like there's any storms. It doesn't look like there's any storms over here. But you do have storms here, and you do have storms here. So I wonder if we can go look at convective. Let's look at our lapse rates. This is one other thing that impresses me with Friday is look at these lapse rates Friday. You have lapse rates, these are mid-level lapse rates, but so your lapse rates, guys, thank you, Carol, so much. Your lapse rates are basically how fast that air is cooling in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And obviously, the faster that air cools, the more juice and the more instability you have for storms. So look at, I mean, this is how fast your air is cooling in the mid levels of these reds and these, I'm talking gibberish. These reds and these orange, now all you need to know is the reds and the oranges are pretty good value. So March, you know, you don't usually see, sometimes you do, but you don't usually see really good lapse rates in March. That's more of like a late April, May, June, July type of thing. Seeing good lapse rates in March, good sign, good sign. So good lapse rates. Here's your CAPE. You have 1,000 CAPE from Indiana to Kansas down to Texas. And you got to remember these models about 100 hours out are going to underdo CAPE. So whenever the models that are about 40 hours out, whenever those models come in a few days, those models are going to show higher CAPE values than this. You're probably going to see 2,000 to 3,000 even in some spots on those different models. Here's your EHI. This is something I like to look at. This just shows you where your best combination of shear and CAPE are in the bottom 3 kilometers. So like I've told you guys before, when it comes to storm chasing and when it comes to tornadoes, I normally just look at, not just, but I normally look at mostly the bottom 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. So and your low levels of the atmosphere is what I normally look at. So look at this dry line. I don't see any storms really firing out here on this dry line, but look at this. You got you got really good soundings right here on this dry line. I don't know why you don't get storms, actually. You feel like storms should fire on this dry line, but look at this. Beautiful. curved hodograph. Look at that. Look at this beautiful curved hodograph. Look at the veer back veer. So the veer back veer is whenever your hodograph kind of curves like this and then it veers up, which means that those upper level winds take your precipitation away from the storm's base, and then you have a more photogenic rain-free storm. But look at that veer back veer up there in the atmosphere. And then I'd take a sounding out here in Arkansas. I bet it still looks really good. Good photographs, but your thermos are probably in the middle of like some thunderstorm right there. Let me go back a few hours. Here we go. I-40, Oklahoma. This screams high precipitation mess. Yeah, you actually got really good low level curve on your hodograph. You could certainly get some tornadoes, but you got a lot of wonkiness in the mid levels. You got a good amount of cape here. You don't have much dry air. Look, you just have a tiny section of elevated mixed layer. You don't have much dry air, but pretty good values right there. Storm relative velocity. You could definitely get some tornadoes out of that too. But my focus would be, man, can that dry line fire out here in the Midwest? You also have decent soundings for severe weather, but I don't think you have much of a kick of a forcing mechanism up here in northern Missouri. You have the same thing. So I would be eyeing the dry line on Friday. So let's move to Saturday. Saturday looks decent. You actually have a pretty good warm sector out here in the Ohio River Valley. Look at this warm sector across Ohio, and then you have another one out here. So you're definitely going to see severe weather Saturday too. I wouldn't be surprised if the European gets on board. I wouldn't be surprised if they expand. Or if they make a day, I don't know if it'd be day 6. I think it'd be day 6. But if I pull a sounding here in central Ohio, it's pretty solid. You have skinnier cape. You have very skinny cape right here. But you have pretty good moisture, 60-degree dew point. You have a good loop in the low-level hodograph. So you could certainly get some tornadoes out of that. And if I pull a sounding down here, maybe it looks even better if I go another hour. We'll pull one right here. South of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. It's kind of messy. You get some messy storms, but you could certainly get some tornadoes out of this. Low LCLs, lots of moisture, backed surface winds, and then they almost veer out of the west up here. You could definitely get some tornadoes here too. So Saturday looks like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are chase days according to the GFS. Let's check in on Sunday. And I kind of just like looking at the EHI, the Enhanced Helicity Index, just because this is an easy way to see where the best this is basically showing you the combination of shear and thermodynamics and where that best combination is going to be. So Sunday, your cold front is pushing out to the Gulf. So probably not much of a severe threat, maybe down in Louisiana, a very marginal one. Same thing Monday. You're kind of recovering. We can't go out far enough, so let's go back and break down Thursday and Friday. We'll take a closer. I'm only going to be live for like 10 more minutes because I do need to go to bed. Like I said, I got to get up tomorrow morning, but we can go take a look. Let's go take a look at Thursday more in depth. So, and this is just one model. This is just the GFS. So don't take this one to heart. But you can see at 6 in the morning, your 50-degree dew point line is all the way in southern Oklahoma. Your 60-degree dew point line is back in North Texas, southeast Oklahoma. So these dew points have to really rock it up here. But the good thing is they have all day to do that, and it looks like they do get up there. You see by noon, this is not a great look for noon, but you can see your 60-degree dew points are now at least up to I-40. Your 50-degree dew points are almost up to the Kansas border. I would say the threshold this time of year, at minimum, I would want to see 55-degree dew points for at least a decent tornado risk. And even 55 is on the very marginal side. But if you have really good If you have other factors that are really strong, you can get it done with 55-degree dew points, but I'd want to see probably upper 50s to lower 60s for this kind of setup. And you can see there, by about dinner time, you have those 60-degree dew points pushing in the southern Kansas, western Oklahoma. Those 50s are pushing in up here. So those dew points might make the threat more confined to this region right here. I could draw a better area right there. Your threat might be more confined to this region right here because that's where your dew points are. But wouldn't be surprised to see a nice supercell fire up here by the nose of these dew points. And you can see here, there's your low-level jet. See this hole? You have a hole right here. That hole right there is where the GFS is firing a storm. So the GFS is firing a storm right by Woodward, and you can see it's got a 40-knot low-level jet moving right into it. Look at these curved photographs. Look at these big curved photographs. That's how you get nice tornadoes, when you see that curving in the low levels. But you have a really good low-level jet all the way up through Kansas and even down into parts of Texas. So we'll have to watch this whole dry line here. And you can see very clearly that dry line there. You can see it's not super, super tight. But you can see here's your dry air out here. Here's your moist air filling in right here. The dry line the next day is much tighter. Here's your next day. This is the day I really want to watch, but here's your next day. You have your winds out to the west of the dry line are actually out of the south, but up here you have a pretty tight dry line in Kansas. You have those southeasterlies banked against the southwesterlies, but you have a much tighter dew point gradient there on the dry line the next day. So you could certainly on Friday see storms fire on this dry line and move east. If there's strong enough upper level forcing, I wouldn't be surprised to see some storms fire out here in the warm sector, move up. Even up here on this cold front, you're going to get a mode of supercells potentially up here on this cold front, warm front over into Iowa, Nebraska. But you can see the GFS isn't overly well, you know what? It does fire some. The GFS, I stand corrected, it does fire some storms on the dry line, and see up here there's some storms as well. So you can see by about 9 p.m. you can see those storms working through eastern parts of Oklahoma up into Missouri. I'm assuming still by 9 p.m. you still probably have a decent tornado environment. You have a very good one out by the dry line still. There's a big capping inversion, but even across East Kansas, you still have in eastern Oklahoma, you still have a decent tornado environment at 9 p.m., but it definitely starts to wind down there. So I want to see this next. There's going to be another trough that comes in. So before I go, I just want to. There's going to be another threat of severe weather out here. Okay, so I want to break this down for you guys. So this is what I use to really forecast all severe weather that I forecast is the 500 millibar jet stream. So this is your jet stream about 6 miles above the surface, and what's happening above the ground will usually translate to the ground itself. So here's our first trough. Coming in Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm not expecting much with this. Here's our second trough, Thursday. Probably expecting a decent chase Thursday. Potentially Friday as well. But we'll have to see. But Friday could be a bigger day for like an outbreak. But this isn't the most favorable trough ejection. With this kind of trough shape, you're probably going to have a very minimal outbreak. Maybe still an outbreak, but very minimal. And then this moves on. Okay, it gets sheared out. Saturday, I think your biggest threat is probably out here by the Ohio River Valley into the Midwest, but you're also going to have a threat down here, but there's not much upper level flow. So here, this is what we need to pay attention to, is this feature right here. Okay. So this is what I'm going to be every night when I go live. This is what we're going to be watching. So once you get into Sunday, here's your trough. Here's your system right here. What is this system going to do back here by Arizona, New Mexico? What is this system going to do? Is this system going to sit here? Is it going to merge? Is this system going to merge with this system? Is this system going up to merge with this system up here? Or is it going to sit here for a couple days and then is it going to eject? So how does this system eject is going to be big. You can see here, it digs, but then look at this. Here's your trough ejection Monday. There's your trough ejection. And then Tuesday, it ejects up Tuesday. So if this was right, you would probably have a pretty significant severe weather threat right here on Tuesday. But you can see this kicker system from the back forces this one north. So where does that trough eject? Does this trough eject east? Does it eject north? Does it wait an extra day to eject? Does it eject a day earlier? Does it like get stuck down there? We just don't know. It's too far out to tell. But the GFS has at least been ejecting it north. And you would probably have a pretty solid, you'd probably have at least a marginal severe weather threat down here Monday. And then you'd probably have a more sizable severe weather threat Tuesday as that moisture would eject to north from Alabama up, I would assume. And then look at this. Look at this second trough. This is monstrous. You would have a lot of cold air probably on this backside, probably a blizzard up here. But what a monstrous trough. So we'll go look at this. This is getting in the fantasy land. We're getting about 200 hours away. So when you get about 200 hours away, it's really hard to know much. But it's really hard to know much. Everybody smash that like button for me. I really, really, really appreciate it. This is what I'm going to be doing on this channel from now on. If you don't know, I'm over chasing storms with Storm Runner Media. But okay, there's that beautiful dry line. You're going to have some kind of threat. You're going to have some kind of threat up here. Ohio, River Valley, Midwest, Saturday, and also down here. And then Sunday, you're going to have that moisture kind of gets pinned to the Gulf Sunday, Monday. Your moisture's pinned to the Gulf. But look at your dew points down here in the Gulf. You got a 70 dew points ready to eject to the north. There's your system. Kind of a messy system, but you have 60-degree dew points all the way up to the lakes, and then you have deep moisture down here. You're probably going to have a big tornado threat. You would have a big tornado threat down here in Dixie Alley and some kind of tornado threat probably up here as well. But what you'd have to watch, of course, is storm mode. Do you get a squall line? Do you not get a squall line? I bet if I took a random sounding, it'd look pretty good. It's a really good sounding. So this is like 200 hours out, but this is a pretty high level tornado sounding right here. I mean, you have a 50 knot low level jet right here. You have a good curvature of your hodograph. You have deep moisture. You have an EML in Dixie Alley. Pretty good cape. This is a pretty high level tornado sounding right there. So we are definitely watching that March. Definitely watching the time frame around March 10th. March 10th seems to be a day that's been highlighted by some models here. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. You got a good EHI. Look at that. Yeah, March 10th has been an even Eastern Ohio. That is a pretty good sounding in Eastern Ohio. So you're talking about a larger scale outbreak here, potentially on March 10th, but we have to watch how that trough ejects. But certainly the models have been highlighting that time frame. They have been highlighting this time frame. Pretty insane environment here. What's going up here in Missouri? We got some EHI in Missouri. Little cold core environment up there in Missouri, Kansas. We got to watch. Many years ago, 2021, there's a big high risk in Dixie Alley, and I was in Kansas and Missouri chasing the cold core. If it looked like that, I wouldn't chase it again. But you see, even the next day, you have a severe threat across the Carolina Alley, I believe is what they call it. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up for tonight. At some point, I'll go live a little earlier, so I don't go live at like 10:30 on a Sunday evening. I'm sure my viewers are a little bit lower, but as the severe weather threat ramps up, we'll be here live. So please, please, please like the stream. I know I'm a little bit all over the place. I'm not feeling great, a little bit under the weather, but mainly I want to focus right now on Thursday and Friday. So I'm going to draw, our yellow is going to be Thursday. So Thursday, I want to watch this area here. This is the area I want to watch Thursday. Friday, I want to watch this area here. So the black is Friday. I want to watch this area Friday. The yellow is Thursday. But especially on Friday, I really want to watch this area closer, central Oklahoma, southern Kansas. That's what I really want to watch Friday. But we have a lot coming up, so make sure to tune in to Storm Runner Media to see us live out covering these. Also, hit the like, the sub button, and I will be back very, very soon. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in here, and I will see you next time. Thank you, Carol, for being a member, and thank you for the comments, guys.